Hello there fellow NPCs, I am Scythe and today we're getting back into Everlasting Summer. And we are starting day 7 on the Ulyana path. And we have scored in just about every good point that I can think of. So yeah, now let's see how this is going to end up. We are starting with a good end and then we're going to continue with a bad end. If it's today's episode or tomorrow's episode, well, I guess we just have to go and find out. But for now, let's go. There are probably worse things in life than falling asleep while being cuddled by a little girl. And now the door opens and armed men leap towards us. I can't make out what they're screaming, but their intentions are clearly far from good. Nah, I'm not scared at all. Rather, I'm embarrassed, or even ashamed. When I opened my eyes, it took me some time to realize where exactly I was. It was dark in here, only a dim light was gleaming under the door. Why do they make storage room without windows? Although, obviously, that's the way it should be, but why on earth would anyone bring a TV set and a VCR in here then? Well, it's a storage room, they just put it away for the time being. That's my assumption. I cursed the architects of this building in my mind and shook Ulyana by her shoulders. Come on, get up now. She stretched, and as we were lying together, I could see her sleepy eyes even in the dark. Let me sleep. Ulyana tried to turn away, but I firmly grabbed her shoulder with my hand. I don't know what time it is, but regardless, it would be smart for us to get out of here. Not now, later, she whispered, half asleep. I said wake up, come on. I jumped up and I easily pulled her to her feet. Ugh, moaned Ulyana with frustration in her voice. I started to look for the light switch, but then suddenly I heard footsteps outside the door. My heart sank. Why so early? We have a truckload of work to do, no time to waste. You know that we have to do it all before the departure. Alright, fine. It looks like our two amped up cybernetics are paying a visit to the clubhouse before the break of dawn today. Shush! I whispered to Ulyana. And what's the... She didn't manage to finish a sentence as I silenced her with my hand. Well, I understand all that, but we might at least have waited until after breakfast. Oh, do you have something else to do? Not really. I heard some hesitation in Electronic's voice. Sure you don't want to head off to the library bright and early again? Hadn't the slightest intention, he replied fretfully. Oh, yeah, sure, if you say so. Soon the work kicked off behind the door. I could hear hammer strikes, machines rattling, and Electronics buzzing. Electronic and Shurk were discussing their own matters, so I wasn't paying much attention. I was more interested in knowing when they finally leave the building. Rather soon, breakfast time is coming. But if we take Shurik's passion into consideration... Let go of me! Ulyana finally wrestled her way out, but didn't raise her voice after all. Why can't we just leave? She asked under her breath. And what do you think? It's all fine? Well, what's the problem? Well, we've spent the whole night here together. And it's obvious what they'd assume, considering I've taken the precaution of closing the door. So? What do you mean, so? I tiredly sighed. Just trust me. I know it doesn't matter to you, but it does to me. Okay, fine, we'll keep hiding here, agreed Ulyana resentfully. I was prepared to wait for a long time if necessary, but barely a couple of minutes later the front door opened and somebody came in. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Morning. It was Slavia. I just wanted to ask if you happen to have any sticky tape. We do. Somewhere. Replied Shurk thoughtfully. Take a look in the back room. These words gave me goosebumps and I grabbed the door handle in a stranglehold. Slavia approached the door from the opposite side and tried to pull it open, but I was straining against the door with all my strength. It's locked. It can't be. We never locked that room. Let me try. Shurk yanked the door handle, but nothing happened, although it took a lot of effort for me to hold it steady. Oh, it's stuck. Give me a hand here. In a few moments, they were trying to open the door together with the electronic. I grasped the handle as if my whole life was depending on it. But regardless, this was a short struggle. My hands quickly gave out and I let it go. A door slammed open and the bright sunlight blinded me, so I couldn't see the startled face of Scythe, Electronic and Slavia for the first few seconds. Good morning. Morning. Ulyana was standing behind me so that I couldn't see her, but I could feel the embarrassment in her voice. Oh, so she does care, huh? That she was caught in here after a full night with a guy. She did care. And what are you doing here? Asked Scythe almost as if he wasn't surprised. Well, to tell you the truth, we were watching a movie. Ulyana brought a tape and you have a VCR here. Scythe distrustfully stared into the depths of the back room. I gave Ulyana a nudge in the side until she got the message and displayed the tape. And what's that movie? A barely visible grin crossed Electronic's face. Just a regular film, thriller, the latest thriller. Then I imagined what he and the others were thinking right now, and I was overwhelmed with rage. If you think no, nothing like that. That's all her fault, that's all my fault. So this is actually where we need to save. Because that is going to be... if we choose the wrong thing here, we actually lose 2 points. If we choose the right thing, we get 2 points. So we are either going to 9 or to 5 points at this point. So this is where we choose. And we are going to say it's my fault. Because we want that good ending. We're not blaming Ulyana for this. Nobody's accusing you of anything, said Slavia without looking at me. At least there's one sensible person among all present here. Yet, she added under her breath. What? Everything was exactly as I told you. Ulyana joined the conversation. We were just watching a film and then felt sleepy. It was so late. We didn't think anything. Just a stupid situation. Come on, enough. Electronic tried to put it off with a jest. I think Olga Dmitrievna will be the judge here, Slavia said in a cool voice. Hey, wait, why take this to the camp leader? Who else? But you see, we're telling the truth. I am not the one to judge. Damn it, then who? You have seen everything with your own eyes. That's for the camp leader to decide, Slavia said quietly and turned to go. Just wait. I appeared before the door in a single bound and blocked her way. Listen, this is none of my business. Slavia was trying to avoid my gaze. Oh, she really does not like that I was spending the night with such a young kid. Of course, if something were to happen, she is absolutely right. It seems like she is also uncomfortable with it about this situation. I am just obligated to... Whom are you obligated to? Why do you need to do this? Because she was unable to find the words to finish. So you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to tell anyone anything. No, she said nervously, but then raised her head and gave me an intense gaze. I'm sorry, Semyon. Just leave her, let her go. I turned my head to Ulyana. This fraction of a second was enough for Slavia to slip out of the clubhouse. Wait! Just wait! I yelled at her as she ran, but it had no effect. Pursuing Slavia in a futile attempt to prevent her from going to the camp leader made no sense. If she intends to, I can't exactly tie her up. She can't prove anything anyway. Ulyana chuckled. Who cares whether she can prove anything or not? Don't you understand your position in all of this? In any situation you're involved in, your guilt is a foregone conclusion. What? In any situation you're involved in, your guilt is a foregone conclusion. Too complicated for me. Moreover, in a case like this, well, we are responsible together then. She smirked trickily. Exactly. I left the building and sat on the stairs. Well, we'll be on your side, just in case. Right, Yurik? I think so. I don't clearly understand what happened here, but presumably nothing that worrying. Okay, we're going for breakfast. Soon we lost sight of them. Let's go and eat as well, Ulyana said cheerfully. Food is all you think about. Why bother crying? What will it change? She was right about that, at least. We just had to wait for the camp leader's decision. Let's just go. We headed to the canteen. All the camp had gathered for breakfast, except Olga Dmitrievna and Slavia. It might be for the best, I guess. What are you thinking about? Ulyana asked me cheerfully when we took out our food and sat. The same thing. Come on, stop worrying about nothing. Maybe it's nothing to you. Well, really, what was particularly bad about that? Every situation can be interpreted from different angles. And especially if you have a reason. Come on, what's the worst that can happen? You know, our camp leader, she's a bit eccentric. Well, maybe so, but we didn't do anything like that. Anything at all. I hope she believes that too. My relationship with Ulyana had improved dramatically lately. At first, I only saw her as a naughty, ill-mannered child, but now I started to see the good sides of her character. Although, there weren't too many. And now, just when everything was starting to work out, a hard conversation with the camp leader loomed ahead. Maybe I just dreamt everything that happened, and Slavia's reaction this morning was just caused by surprise. Enjoying your meal? Olga Dmitrievna was hanging over me. She looked at me menacingly. Yes? Would you mind explaining your behavior? Mind explaining what? Well, for example, how you happened to be in the Cybernetics Club utility room. Where did you get the key? What were you even doing there? I recall the circumstances in which I obtained this cursed key. I should speak to Electronic about that. If Slavia told you our version... We were watching a film, Ulyana claimed seriously. The whole night? The camp leader asked sarcastically. Then I just fell asleep and Semyon stayed with me. And so there was no chance for you to go to your cabins. Not even a tiny one. And what are you going to say? Well, it sounds really stupid, but she's right. You expect me to believe that? Well, it's the truth. I can't really accuse you of anything. The camp leader started slowly. But on the other hand, this entire situation is beyond normal. Pioneers must not behave this way. I am really curious about that. It's the 80s in Soviet Union. So was Pioneer life this strict, essentially? I mean, we have scouts in Sweden, but I have a hard time believing there ever was anything this strict. And there are too many inconsistencies in your story. We get it, I agreed fatalistically. I will do the following. Ulyana, you are under detention. You will be confined to your cabin, and I will decide what to do with you later. I looked at Ulyana attentively. Contrary to my expectations, she didn't look upset. Clearly, I do not think this is your fault, but to be fair. Great! You know where to find me in case you need me. She stood up instantly and headed to the exit. Olga Dmitrievna didn't try to stop her. There's always too much trouble with her, and she got you into all of this. I don't really get what she got me into. And you seem to be too harsh on her. Show me another pioneer like her. The camp leader laughed. Oh, I didn't even see she was smiling with her with teeth and all. That's the first one. When she receives detention for misbehaving, that's another story. But here... Actually, I don't really understand what was indeed going on, but my duty is to look after your moral character, and this situation is suspicious. Highly suspicious. And how long are you going to keep her imprisoned? I don't know. Olga Dmitrievna pondered for some time. Today is the departure. But in these circumstances... What? What departure? I jumped at the word. The term is ending today. This is the last day. So, what? It was the only response I could squeeze out. The last day, meaning I finally be able to leave this damn camp. Maybe it's time for my suffering to end, and I'll get back to my ordinary reality. But why so suddenly? Sudden for who? I talked about it in the lineup. She has a point. At the lineups I was usually sleeping or looking around and didn't really listen to the announcements. And at what time? At about 5 o'clock. Don't forget to get ready. I hardly have anything to pack. She stood up, took a tray and was going to leave. So what's going to happen to Ulyana? I don't know yet, I told you. She will probably leave later. Oh, damn. How's that? Not with everyone? Well, yes. Is that normal? I was truly surprised. What's wrong with it? I don't know about wrong, but it's quite strange for sure. Well, I still have work to do. I dug aimlessly at my porridge, which had gone cold long ago. Departure, the possibility of getting out of here. But on the other hand, Ulyana. I myself felt guilty before her. In the end, she was penalized while I, at the same time, wasn't. That's not fair. No, it's not like I wanted to share her misery, but I don't think that it's fair that she sits there locked up. Well, there is still some time before leaving. It should be quite enough to make the situation clear. First, I decided to talk with Slavia. I hope she has calmed down. I'm getting used to finding Slavia at the square, so I went there without any doubts. Why exactly there? Because in this camp I predominantly met her there. But there wasn't a single soul near Gandalf's Haven. I stood there for a while looking at the monument, then headed to the library. It makes sense that Senya could know where her neighbor is right now. After knocking at the door, recalling my previous experience, this was not a useless mannerism. I went in. That was a difficult sentence. Senya distracted herself from the book and looked closely at me. What do you want? Something wrong? Why do you react like that? I can't even come in? What? You came here for no reason? I doubt you wanted to read something. Well, no. The classics of Marxist-Leninism weren't my favorite literature. I wanted to know where Slavia is. Why do you want to know? She said that as if she was sure that the conversation is over and thus she proceeded with her reading. Well, since I'm asking, clearly I need to know. Should be on the pier. Senya answered indifferently. Thanks. Cat and mouse game here with Slavia. We're looking for her all over the camp. Let's see if we can find her. Learning what I wanted to know, I hurried out of this stronghold of malice. Yes, Senya has a tough spirit. At least I have issues understanding her. On the pier, some pioneers were pulling boats into docks while others were running around with oars or ropes. After looking closely, I noticed Slavia, who sat there quietly far away, near the water. Cleaning up? I asked the most neutral question that came to my mind. Yep, she answered without turning. Listen, I want to talk about Ulyana? Well, yeah. Honestly speaking, I had no idea what to talk about. Slavia found us in the storage room, got it wrong, and told everything to the camp leader. Now it's not her concern anymore, if you think about it. On the other hand, it would be a waste of time to talk to Olga Dmitrievna now. Maybe I just subconsciously wanted to understand Slavia's reasoning, to be able to absolve her somehow. So, what did you want to say? Well, Ulyana got punished. Maybe she won't even leave with us. No wonder. I just wanted to explain to you that nothing special happened there. Frankly speaking, I don't know. I just had to report everything. So you did? Did it leave anyone better off? I mumbled to myself. Of course I'm not sure that it was right, she said confusedly. Well, what's done is done. Do you think it'll be possible to get Ulyana free from house arrest? You're worrying about her so much. Slavia finally looked at me and smiled. Not about her, about justice. While I was a bit confused, I found the right answer. Well, you know our camp leader. I do, that's for sure. Just wait, she'll calm down eventually. Well, she didn't have to calm down if you weren't tattling and tailing. Tattling? Tattletale? Ah, something. Yes, I guess that was the best decision. Yes, you're right. I stood near her in silence for some time. Slavia didn't seem eager to keep on talking. Still, there was some sense of incompleteness, but faced with the idea of this uncomfortable situation lasting for several hours, I decided not to be a burden. Okay, I'll go then. See you. She smiled. And why the hell did it blow cold air? All of a sudden. In the middle of the square I stopped to think. There's still a lot of time till the departure, and I have nothing to do. Just yesterday, when it seemed like I was stuck here forever and had lots of time, even though there was actually very little, I felt a need to think and act faster. But now that I got only 5 hours left till I leave this camp forever, I have not the slightest idea on how to spend them. I decided to visit Ulyana. After all, even if she isn't allowed to leave her cabin, that doesn't mean I cannot pay her a visit. I knocked gently. You're not welcome here. Are you sure about that? I think I might be. An angry voice sounded from behind the door. I pulled on the handle and entered. Hail, prisoner! Oh, it's you, Ulyana said disappointedly. And what? Am I the only one who isn't welcome here? I tried to smile. Why did you come? Well, I thought that you'd be bored here all alone. I'm fine. Where is Alyssa? As you can see, not here. Come on, why are you so angry? In the morning you were in a much better mood. Angry? Me? Not me, that's for sure. You have nothing else to do, so you came here, right? Yeah, my bad. I sighed theatrically and hung my head. Well, sit down then. I sat on the opposite bed. So, tell me something. Let's come up with a way to prove to Olga Dmitrievna that we did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong, Ulyana corrected me. Are you telling me that I did something wrong then? Little shit. You seem to have nothing to do with it. Okay, let it be. But why? A tricky question. Feels like we've swapped our roles. I was suggesting a stupid plan while she was a voice of reason. Well, because we did nothing wrong. What's the matter with you anyhow? I'll just stay grounded for a couple of hours and that's it. We have to depart soon anyway. She flopped down to the bed and stared at the ceiling. Well, sure, but I tried hard to cheer her up, but it looks like I haven't succeeded so far. Do you need to cheer her up though? Isn't she happy already? Want to do something maybe? It's lunchtime already. I took a glance at my watch. Yeah, right. Here's a job for you. Since I mustn't go out, go and bring me something to eat. Sir, yes sir. I saluted her and hurried out of the cabin. Recently I'd started to think that finally something has clicked in Ulyana's mind. Maybe the punishment had an effect on her, or possibly it was something else. And maybe my attitude towards her has changed. Her wrongdoings used to make me feel nothing but irritation, but now there was also understanding and a sort of sympathy. After all, I used to be a child too. Perhaps if one explained to her what is the right and what is not, she might be able to avoid many mistakes. In the canteen, I had an argument with a cook who refused to give me a double serving. However, everyone in the camp already knew about Ulyana being grounded, so eventually my powers of persuasion won out over dietary standards. Soon I was sitting at Ulyana's cabin and tucking away meatballs with potatoes. Just like a last meal. What are you talking about? Well, every death row prisoner has a right to make a last wish. Thus, my last wish is a lunch like this. To my surprise, the food was really delicious. What would yours be? What would your wish be? Well, to not be executed, of course. She laughed. You can't. Why? If you can't wish for anything. Well, you can, but within certain limits. That means it's not anything. Well, okay then, it's not anything. Then that's not interesting. Well, I believe being a death row prisoner is hardly meant to be interesting in the first place. I grinned through my teeth. I wouldn't know. I never went through that experience. But if you think about it, that's almost my situation. This camp is my cell. For several more hours I'll stay under arrest and then I'll face uncertainty, just like I would after death. The only difference is that I had more options. If I wanted to attend lineup, then I'd do so. If not, then I didn't. What are you going to do next? What do you mean? Well, after the camp. She looked at me in surprise. Back to school, of course. Yes. Only for me, leaving this place is kinda like crossing a barrier, a frontier, the end of something and the beginning of something else. A week ago, it was terribly hard for me to realize that I had been pulled out of my usual world and brought to God knows where. But then, I got used to it. And here we go again. Basically, the only difference is that now I face not a sense of fear or horror, but a blunt sinking feeling of uncertainty. And you? Well, I'll find something to do. Something? She burst into peals of laughter. Yeah, what's the matter? You should have gone to a circus school to be a clown. Why? One can't help laughing when looking at you. But why? You always act like some kind of martyr, a new messiah for all the Russians. Well, there was quite a bit of truth in her words. Yeah, he is such a goddamn downer. I have my reasons. I mumbled and turned to face the window. What reasons? Various. Why are you so curious? Have you forgotten that I'm a child? She grinned darkly. Well, half an hour with you is like a terrible torture for me. Look who's talking, you're just one really nasty-tempered person. What makes you think so? You're always deep in soul-searching, trying to find out something, analyzing everyone around you. I gave Ulyana an amazed look. I would never have expected such a little girl to be capable of such mature judgment. And? That's it. At the very least I know how to behave myself, and I don't end up grounded. It's a matter of chance, she grinned. Yeah, sure. If last night... She stopped short. Last night what? Nothing. No, finish what you started. She just opened her mouth when steps were heard behind the door, and a second later Olga Dmitrievna entered the room. Ah, there you are. That's even better. She seemed confused and lost for words. Well, I reconsidered this morning's incident. It's not like it became much clearer, but it doesn't look like a big deal. So, Ulyana, you're officially not grounded anymore. If you only did that right from the start, I muttered. Did you say something? No, nothing. Departure is coming. Time to pack your stuff. Saying that, she left the cabin. Now you see how it all turned out? Yeah, I sighed. Are you going to pack? Yeah, I guess so. And you? It's not like I had got much to pack. Indeed, it was the truth. Care to help me then? Okay, sure, why not? She started to pull her clothes out of the cabinets and stack them on her bed. Watch it, you'll mess up everything. It's okay, I'll wash them at home. T-shirts, skirts, short dresses, shoes, trainers, underwear, the pile of clothes was growing and growing. You've really brought all this stuff here all on your own. Considering Ulyana's constitution, it was hard to believe. Yes, of course, she laughed. Come on, give me a hand. We started to pack up the clothes into a big bag. I tried to pack things carefully at first, but after realizing that it's pointless, resorted to just stuffing everything in it to make it all fit. At last there was no more clothes on the bed, and we even somehow managed to zip up the bag. So, that's it. Yeah. I looked at the clock. It was about 40 minutes till the departure time. You know, it was fun. Meaning? Well, the last week was fun. Ah, yeah, I said absent-mindedly. Don't you think so? Why? It sounded sort of insincere to me. Well, I must admit that I'm not exactly walking on air, yeah. But what didn't you like? It's not like I can spit out everything at once. A few moments were, how can I put it, a little unexpected. Ah, you're so boring, said Ulyana and turned away from me. Well, what do you expect from me? You sound like you got absolutely nothing to remember later. Yeah, there sure is plenty to remember, I gleamed. Yep, that's what I'm saying. She looked closely at me. That made me a bit uncomfortable. What now? And me? Will you remember me? Sure I will. Everyone. Everyone. And you. You most of all. I saluted, springing up to attention with my hand over my heart. Okay. That's better! However, do I really have something to remember about her? Yeah, we had a lot of adventures, but who is Ulyana for me? Just a nosy kid from another reality. On second thought, do I really care that much about my situation now? From the very first moment I appeared here, everything changed tremendously. So right now, I was just curious what's going to happen next. Sure, the unknown is not the most pleasant perspective, but I must admit that it's a breathtaking one. Whether I will return to my world or not is up to me Whether I will return to my world or not is not up to me anymore. It means that I don't really have any choice. I have to adapt to the local living conditions. And one of these conditions was sitting right in front of me, smiling broadly. You know, you're not as silly as I first thought. What do you think I'm silly in the first place? She said in an offended tone. Just kidding. You and your jokes. Alright, it's time. Let's go. Ulyana said happily and pointed at the bag. Yeah, I shouldered her belongings. The weight almost made me bend in half. I was thankful for the fact that the bus stop was just a few hundred meters away. I shoved her stuff onto the bus and then hurried to get my own humble luggage. After some time, all the pioneers were there. Everyone is here? Began Olga Dmitrievna. You're leaving our camp today and I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time you spent here for a lifetime, and that you'll retain only pleasant memories about Sovyanok. I also hope that you became at least a little bit better, managed to learn something and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader turned away. It seemed she was trying to hold back her tears. I wasn't expecting her to get so emotional, but I completely agreed with everything she said. Perhaps it was the first time that her words haven't just passed by my ears. Soon enough, everyone boarded the bus. I took the last seat, next to Ulyana. The first row was taken by Slavia and Senya, then a little closer to us, Lena, Miku, Electronic and Shurik were playing cards. Alyssa slouched in her seat alone 2 rows from us. There was no partner for her. It turned out a bit embarrassing for your neighbor. It's fine, you helped me get them ready and brought my stuff here. I looked at her closely. It seems this little demon had changed her attitude towards me in a radical way. Could it be that I'm a friend to her? An odd word that seemed to have lost its meaning for me ages ago. I can't recall any of my acquaintances, when I still had them, who I could call friends. Maybe even back when I was at school. And now someone considers me a friend. Anyway, what does it all mean to me? I always felt more comfortable thinking about the abstract stuff, distant perspectives and global matters than of simple, ordinary issues. And indeed, during all the time I've spent in this camp, I managed to become close friends with Ulyana. She awakened these long-forgotten feelings in me. Because this is what it means to be buddies or friends. I smiled and tousled her hair gently. What's that for? She puffed her lips. Just because. Pervert! Well, that came out of nowhere. Will you marry me when I grow up? Sure. I'll hold you to that. Okie dokie. Let's go yonder my cards? Why not? We gathered around the suitcase that was being used as a table. Soon Alyssa joined us. I was laughing a lot, cracking jokes and just enjoying being in a state that one usually calls happiness. A simple happiness, here and now. Right now, this bunch of pioneers that I managed to befriend in this short week were a million times more important to me than finding out how I came to this world and how to get out of here. In the end, should I even bother trying to get back? And it's evening. It was getting dark. The game was long over, and the pioneers had returned to their seats. I had no idea how long it would take to get to the district center, but it seemed like an eternity. From beyond the bus windows, only pitch darkness was looking back at me, almost consuming the entire world, compressing to only the size of the Icarus cabin. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I was enjoying the moment. It seemed that this really is completely normal. And does it really matter how I got here if things turns out this great? I became another person and met new friends. What are you thinking about? About life? And how's it going? Just awesome. Ulyana laughed quietly. I don't have a place to return to, so I can choose any life path I want. Yes, we will part ways soon, and I will probably never see most of them again, but we will stay friends forever. A pleasant warmth flowed through my body. I felt like a kid again. Ulyana put her head on my shoulder and quickly fell asleep. Sometimes you may feel tired not only because of hard work or sad feelings, but also because of fun, joy and happiness. You may probably even want to continue but have no energy to, with your soul demanding time to rest and your body asking for calm. I fell asleep with a smile on my face. That's cute, that's pleasant. And I guess this means that Ulyana is the embodiment of friendship. I thought it was activity, wanting to do things. And I wasn't completely wrong, but friendship. Ulyana represents friendship. But that will actually be where I cut off for today's episode. We've already passed 40 minutes as I'm recording this. And these epilogues always take such a long time. So I will be saving the good ending for the next episode. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you, Joseph, for donating directly to my Ko-fi page. If you guys want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.